5वें दिन के फर्स्ट सेशन में मैं अपने मुख्य अतिथि और अपनी प्राचार्य और जितने भी प्रतिभागी हैं उन सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ, अभिनंदन करती हूँ। आज की इस सेशन की जो मॉडरेटर है हमारी डॉक्टर मनीषा अग्रवाल जी, हेड ऑफ डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ इंग्लिश, और मैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करती हूँ कि वे आए और इस सेशन की इस सेशन की जो कार्यवाही है उसको संपन्न करें। डॉक्टर मनीषा अग्रवाल जी।
Hello ma'am, thank you ma'am. Can everyone hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Very good morning and a very breezy morning to all of you. I, Dr. Manisha Agarwal, on behalf of IQAC committee, extend warm and hearty greetings to our chief guest, Professor Suhas Pednekarji, the Vice Chancellor of Mumbai University, our principal ma'am, Dr. Seema Jain, our convener ma'am, Dr. Santosh Tomar, respected faculty and staff of Jain Kanya Pathshala, PG College, people working behind the curtains, and all the enthusiastic and patient participants for the ongoing online faculty development program on the topic, how to improve quality parameters in higher education. Today is the first session of 5th day of our program, and seeing the immense participants, my heart swells with pride. And at the back of my mind, I am forced to ponder about the positive aspects of coronavirus pandemic. Though coronavirus pandemic, it has brought a lot of gloom and despair with it. But this is also true that it has pushed us towards the technology. As our principal ma'am said, that we have entered the age of Renaissance. It is the Renaissance of technology. We have become digital. And at this juncture, I can't resist myself to quote the lines from Sunil Dutt Sahab's Naya Daur, छोड़ो कल की बातें, कल की बात पुरानी, नए दौर में लिखेंगे हम मिलकर नई कहानी. A couple of months back, who could have imagined that we would be so active in virtual teaching, in virtual learning, in virtual meetings and virtual conferencing? But yes, here we are. We are presently a part of online FDP program from our college, and there is an immense participation from all, and that too in the comfort of our homes, where eminent and distinguished speakers have discussed the various aspects and dynamics of quality in higher education. Today, we have with us our distinguished guest, Sir Pednekarji. Continuing our program, I would request our principal ma'am to say a few words in honor of our respected guests.
Well, a very good morning to all of you. I would like to welcome our chief guest for today's session, Professor Suhas Pednekarji. I heartily welcome you on behalf of my management committee and staff and faculty members.
Thank you.
Sir, we are really elated to have you with us in this session, and we know very well that how proactive, energetic, and vigorous worker or workaholic you are, and we would be definitely benefited by your discourse on the topic, and I really feel enlightened and grateful for this moment that we are with you, and with someone who is pedantic and who has given his 100% to whichever job he has taken up. I met him at UGC, and he was working in one of the committee. And then I went to his college also as autonomous team. He had given a new, veneer to Ruya College, Mumbai, and which is counted among one of the best colleges in Maharashtra. And now he has taken up the charge of Mumbai University, Maharashtra. And he is also doing his level best and taking the university forward to new horizons. And now he is with us, and we are really, really, really grateful to him for providing his precious time for this session. Manisha, please brief his achievement.
Yes, sure, ma'am. There is a lot to be said about sir.
No, you can be as short as possible, please.
Okay.
Yes, sir. But I take the privilege of presenting the introduction of illustrious career of sir, of our guest, Sir Pednekar ji, to everyone present here. Sir has over 30 years of academic experience. His inherent passion and commitment towards academics has led to his being principal of Ram Narayan Ruia College from 2006 to 2018. Sir holds a doctoral degree in organic chemistry and was a postdoctoral fellow at the Stevens Institute of Technology, New Jersey, USA. His areas of research interest are green chemistry, pharmacological and chemical investigation of medicinal plants, and marine biotechnology. Sir has presented his research findings in many national and international conferences and successfully guided a lot of students for doctoral and master's programs. Sir has vast administrative experience too. He has served as a member of official bodies of Institute of Chemical Technology and state and national level bodies engaged in the enhancement of quality of education. And the list of his engagements in administrative domain is endless. Sir is also a life member of many scientific bodies and is the recipient of several awards, including the Best Chemistry Teacher Award at national level and the Best Teacher Award by the Government of Maharashtra. Now, before handing the session to Sir, I would request all the participants to please keep their microphones on the mute mode. And since everybody is eager to listen to him, I would not take any more moment. And Sir, the session is all yours. Over to you, Sir.
Thank you and namaste to you all. आप सबको मिलके बहुत खुशी हो रही है. मेरी हिंदी इतनी अच्छी नहीं है, लेकिन कोशिश करूंगा कि हिंदी और इंग्लिश में आपसे बात करूं. Dr. Seema Jain, principal, all her colleagues, and dear participants. It's my extreme privilege to be part of this faculty development program organized by your college. And I know Dr. Seema Jain for more than a decade. So it is really, I'm very happy when she told me that she's conducting FDP and whether I can spare some time. Though to be very honest with you all, I have various responsibilities to be completed even today, but I will definitely like to spare as much time as I can discussing on some of the important aspects. I wouldn't like to talk more about COVID. I think every speaker must have talked about it, but I can only say that when you're going through very critical times and the crisis, we all know that crises lead to opportunities. And also crises come and go. The crisis never stay for a long. And one tiny virus has taught us several lessons. We all so-called intellectuals, using our own wisdom, used to advise China when it started in Wuhan, that what China should do and what China should not do. But no one probably thought that one day the same tiny virus will knock at their doors, and we were caught unaware. Anyway, we are, not just we, but the whole world and the educational institutions are locked down. But there cannot be a better opportunity than this to think out of box and how we can take ourselves forward. So my today's talk, I feel I would like to spend some time talking on one of the very important issue, and which in fact when this COVID pandemic has made it mandatory for all of us as teachers, because basically I feel, though I'm vice chancellor or principal or whatever, we all are basically teachers. So I feel the topic of my discussion today is a teacher as a leader. And what is it that is expected considering the challenges before us? Technology definitely is going to drive everything in future. I would rather say that the future of higher education is going to depend on three important factors. One, technology, which we all know, which was already there, but now because of this COVID pandemic is getting accelerated. And the future will be what is known as a blended learning or hybrid learning. We have to integrate some part of our campus teaching along with online teaching. So that is the reason why I think you all are using this time to upgrade and in capacity building. The second important factor, which we all have to understand, that in near future, the second important factor which will drive the higher education system will be the customer's choice. What I mean by customer's choice is our customers definitely are students. What I mean is the students will have choice in future, very near future, I would say, which institute to join, even which universities to join, and they will have even choices, not just to go to one institute, but can be even multiple universities. You may be aware that the University Grants Commission is coming out with National Academic Credit Bank. What it means is that student can enroll himself or herself with maybe one institute, but will earn credits by taking certain courses from different institutes, not just one, or even different universities. The students will have choice. And once the student earns the requisite number of credits, he or she will be granted a degree. That is the future in education. And this entire credits partly could be online, partly could be a campus contact learning, whatever. So when students are going to have the choice, one of the best outcome of this whole process will be the mediocre institutes will be washed out, because students will definitely go to those institutes where they will get a quality substance. And therefore, it becomes very important for us as teachers to understand what is going to be our future role, how to improve the standard of and the quality of education, how to have the benchmarks, quality benchmarks, because simply preparing e-content and delivering is not going to help. So we have to ensure that quality. And that is why I sincerely appreciate Dr. Seema Jain for organizing this FDP with the title Quality in Education. We have to be quality conscious. Otherwise, even the existence of teachers, in fact, the time has come to do certain introspection as we are teachers. And if we do not reinvent ourselves after 6 months, I would say we might go redundant. The students will not go to those teachers who are mediocre. So this is one thing, as how to upgrade ourselves is the real challenge. And the third important factor which will govern the entire higher education system is innovation. No substitute for innovation. We have to be innovative in terms of teaching, learning, in terms of assessment. We have to also come out with the various modes of assessment of students using even technology meaningfully. And that will be very, very important one. Even the entire support system for the students, we have to ensure that what sort of innovations we can come out with. So creativity will be our innovation. And the most important factor, what I feel that as we need to understand as teachers is, we need to stimulate that innovation and entrepreneurship among students. As India, we feel or the time has come where we need to prepare our students not as job seekers, but job creators. And that is the real challenge we have. So, educational institutions, whether it's a school, college, or universities, they're always the integral part of society. Today, if you do some introspection, you will find there is some degree of disconnect from the educational institutions as what the society around us expect. And our job is how we can bridge that gap. Educational institutions are expected to establish a dynamic equilibrium with the surrounding, that is society, with respect to social, economic, and environmental perspective. The question is, are we doing that? And if not, then what is it that is missing that we have to find out? And if you do that, you will realize what is required in our country today in most of the sectors is good governance. Good governance which will lead to sustainable development. And where do you think that good governance would come from? The answer is also very clear. That will come from dynamic leadership. And the next question then arises, where do you think that this leadership could be cultivated? And again, the answer is very obvious. That will be the educational institutions. And therefore, it becomes our responsibility as teachers, not only to be leader first, but also to prepare future leaders. So in that respect, I think our role has changed, and we have to understand this is the right time. We always come across 4 types of people around us. The first type are those, they don't know and they don't know they don't know. The completely ignorant class. We can do very little about them. The second type, they don't know, but they know they don't know. We can definitely take efforts to ensure their improvement. The third type is to be handled very carefully. They know, but they don't know they know. And the fourth type, of course, is they know and they know they know. They are the leaders. So that is the leadership which we have to understand. So what type of leadership we need today, the 21st century, as far as our country is concerned? The answer is, it should be a leadership with knowledge, leadership which understand the horizontal leadership, not vertical or hierarchical. That is called inclusive leadership, taking everyone together. Leadership with character. Very important, because we have to understand that our entire education, it should not be simply integrated, that is knowledge with skills, but it should also be integrated with the universal human values. Those 3 things are important, and then irrespective of the faculty students are joined, I think that human values should become integral part of the curriculum wherever possible. And to a greater extent, unfortunately, I would say, today we are missing that. And that COVID pandemic and the crisis had made us realize the importance of coexistence. In fact, though we are separated by what is called as a social distancing, but this coexistence and human values have made us realize that this is a time we have to connect with one another. And probably we are connected better way than before. And we are using technology. And today also, even though we can't meet each other, but at least we can see each other virtually. And that is necessary. And therefore, it is not just the phenomenon in the country, but the worldwide phenomenon. There's so many virtues our Indians have, and that is our wealth. I think the whole world has realized. And if you don't inculcate this amongst our youth, that means we are doing some mistake as teachers. So considering the challenges before us as a teacher, so we must act as leaders, and how we can cultivate that leadership among students. That is the challenge, and that is what we need to do, I feel. Now, what are the special qualities required to be a leader? First of all, of course, to have a positive attitude. Because many times we talk, think so much negative and spread negativity, and that affects all our performance. I feel that the success depends 10% what happens to you, but 90% on how you respond. And that is important. Have you ever seen an ant taking rest it constantly moves. You know, even if you try to put any obstacle, it will climb up and go. So that is so much to learn even from this tiniest creature on this planet. So that positivity is so important for us to understand. And this positivity only will pull us out of this crisis. The second important virtue that we have to understand, and I think even the COVID pandemic has made us realize, and that is adaptability. Now, who is going to survive? You know that the whole world is changing so rapidly around us. We are living what is called as a disruptive era. Whatever is important today may not be so tomorrow. Everybody is talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, 3D printing, and even robotics. In fact, robots have started replacing human beings in most of the countries. Of course, our country we can't afford to think of when we have almost 65% youth population and nearly 115 million youth are waiting to enter the workforce in next 5 to 10 years. So we cannot think. We have to, in fact, have a proper blending of technology and the workforce we have. So when people are talking about the changes around us, and even the future belongs to what is called as digital workers, it is expected that 40 to 50% jobs will be digital workers. That means they can work from any place at any time, and it is already started. Work from home. What does it mean? We never thought that even the teachers will sit at home and deliver lectures. And of course, there are challenges, no doubt. I wouldn't like to touch upon every aspect. But when you talk about that online teaching, you have to also consider the student and where he or she is and all other aspects. But what I mean to say that in this fast changing scenario around us, who is going to survive? The answer is very obvious, and those who have adapted, those who have learned adaptability. So it is not how much intelligent you are or how much strong you are, and that in fact, even the law many years ago, even the scientist Darwin said the same thing. So resilience and adaptability are going to be the two important virtues, and we have to understand and we have to inculcate this amongst our students. So adaptability, because 21st century definition of illiterate is not the one who cannot read and write, but is the one who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So relearning, even for teachers, no teacher should ever think that he or she knows everything. We need to be a good students first before we try and take responsibility of students. Third important aspect I feel, which is to some extent missing, particularly amongst Indians, and I realized that when I had opportunity to visit several other countries and how the culture is other countries, especially in the developed countries. And we Indians individually are very good. But when it comes to coming together and working as a team, there is some problem. So we need to understand the importance of working in collaboration. In fact, the real mantra of this age is coexistence or no existence. So how to collaborate and take things forward. In fact, the COVID-19 pandemic has, as I said at the beginning, taught us so many lessons. And now we have to prepare the next generation in such a way that in case if they face similar situation in future, how they should prepare themselves well in advance. And therefore, even I feel now the time has come, if at all, if it is there, well and good, but if not, we need to introduce some important part in the curriculum, apart from the human values that I talked about, even the human health. Health is important issue now, and that is the reason why we are locked down at home. Even the school colleges, it will take some more time to reopen because we have important as far as the health is concerned. So that has to be considered. Even some part of the curriculum should also take care of disaster management, how to prepare ourselves. Even the time has come where all of us should act as volunteers and helping government forces and the government agencies to come out of this current situation. but we do not have that training. We do not know how to handle the situation. So that should not happen. That should become an integral part. So that collaborative efforts are required. And another thing I feel most important one, and as far as the leadership qualities are required, and that is you need to be innovative and creative all the time. If you think about the same thing what others think, you will be considered as just one amongst them, as an average person. But to be a leader, you need to be an innovator. And that is, in fact, the difference between a leader and other people is that innovation that separates between two. And innovation and the way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible. And that is where I think we have to understand. Even the whole purpose of conducting such webinars as our, what we call as capacity building, what is it? That if teacher does not come out with some innovations in her or his teaching, in delivery mode, in use of technology, then nobody else. It's not the job of a principal to go and tell every teacher what he or she is supposed to do. So that is the reason why I said that every teacher should act as a leader. What is my responsibility and how I should prepare the next generation? And the role of teachers has changed, as we all know. Now become more facilitator rather than a dictator. And if we teachers don't change ourselves, and you may be aware a few months back, there was a media news that in one of the schools in Bangalore, the robo has started teaching. And if students start liking that and they realize that this robo teaches better than a human teacher, then I think the human teachers will be very soon get replaced. Though I personally is fully convinced that the human teacher cannot be replaced by technology, provided that human teacher understand what needs to be the whole purpose of teaching and how it is to be imparted in the classroom. Otherwise, even the students will stop attending our lectures. So I do not know how long, but I can only say that the time has come for us, that is the teaching how to teach, and even to take care of students as learning how to learn, especially using technology. Unfortunately, the current situation in our country is, even though the teacher may be equipped with all this technological infrastructure, but you have to also ensure, is your student equipped with the same? The digital divide is already there, and we have to ensure that the digital divide should not get widened. Other whole purpose is defeated. There are certain advantages of online teaching, but at the same time, there are certain disadvantages of online teaching, because the physical contact with student and the teacher makes a huge difference. But we have to ensure that our e-content has the quality, and that is the reason why, in fact, the NAAC has given 7 parameters, and one of them, and everywhere what NAAC ultimately expects is quality, irrespective of every parameter. And governance and leadership is, many times I feel that teachers feel that that is not our criteria, that principal and management has to decide. No, that governance and leadership is that, in fact, every teacher, it starts from there. And that is the collective effort of the institute. Now, Dr. Seema ma'am said what I could do in Ruia College. And if someone asks me that, what is that you did? Then my answer is always, I did nothing. And I always say that we did something. Because it's never a one person's job and the responsibility, it's a collective efforts. So whatever that we could do that. And as far as I'm concerned, whatever little I could do as an administrator, I always got fascinated by one prayer, which was written by Reynold Niebuhr almost 100 years back. And that has influenced me largely. And it goes that God grant me serenity to accept the things which I cannot change, courage to change the things which I can, and wisdom to know the difference between two. The last statement is equally important. We have to understand that what you can do and what you cannot, don't mix up things, and you must do it fully. So that is the importance I feel as a leader, because ultimately, what is leader? Leader is having a vision, having trust, and having good relationship with the people around you. And what is a good vision? The good vision is the one where everyone gets galvanized in such a way that everyone moves in the same direction. Otherwise, in most of the colleges we know, as must have experienced as principal or as head of the department, whenever you propose something, there are always some who oppose it, as if, acting as a member of opposition. Irrespective of your thought may be so good, but they feel their job is to oppose. That should not happen. Everything you will be able to achieve certain heights in the institute when many of you are all move in the same direction without frictions. So that is the importance of the dynamic leadership, I feel. I don't know how long you are expecting me to continue, or can I wind up maybe in a couple of minutes?
Sir, you can continue. Still, we have got 20 minutes left.
Okay. Well, so as far as this leadership is concerned, what I can ultimately, or rather like to touch upon one aspect. For me, I feel it, and I'm trying to follow it as an administrator, and it has been helping me greatly, and I like to share with you. You all know that many times people say that learn to manage time. I have learned one more thing, and that is how to learn to manage your energy. And at times I feel that managing your energy probably is more important than managing your time. Now, what does that mean? Each one of us, possesses 4 types of energies. Those 4 types are, this is nothing great or new, but just like to share with you that the first type we all know is called physical energy. And that is, physical energy decides how long you can work in a day. And we take several efforts to improve our physical energy through various exercises. The second type of energy is called intellectual energy. The whole purpose of our students go to school, colleges, universities, is to increase or enhance their intellectual energy. But for me, the third type of energy is most important one. Now, which one is that? You will surprised to know there's one research was carried out by Harvard University way back, long back. And that research took almost 75 years, 3 generations. And if I tell you the title of the research, you will start wondering why it took 75 years where I can answer in just 7 seconds. The title of the research was, what is it that makes human being more happy? Appears very simple, isn't it? Now, what is it that makes human or people happy? 3 generation people were asked this question. The data was collected and interpreted. And do you know the answer? The answer of this research was something which makes person more happy is interpersonal relationship. It is not, in fact, the happiness doesn't lie in the standard of living. I'm sorry, it doesn't lie in the standard of life, but the standard of living. The happiness does not depend on money or the position you hold. The happiness lies in your happy and healthy relationship you have with the people around you. As principal or as teacher, who are the people around you? Your own colleagues and more important students and everyone. And that is, you need to understand, and that is the third type of energy that is called as emotional energy. Your emotional bonding with the people around you, in the people in your own family, people in the working place, people you meet when you travel. And just imagine that everyone talks good about you and you talk good about them. That gives more happiness, so that you get a nice sleep at the end of the day. Even the money which can't buy it. And that is that many times we teachers, in fact, I'm very sorry to say that I'm addressing all teachers, but the species under the sun which have inflated ego is teacher. And at many times it's so difficult to control. And I know as principal at the Dr. Seema, that we have to understand, you know, and because of this ego hassles and the interpersonal relationship which get disturbed in the department, that affects our even output as a teacher.
Good.
So
Yes.
this is very, very essential, and that is called that energy, because ultimately emotional energy, because ultimately what we need in life, very simple, to love others and to be loved by others. And the fourth energy, which is equally important, that is called spiritual energy. And the spiritual energy doesn't mean, according to me, that how much time you spend in temple worshipping your God. The spiritual energy, the meaning is very simple. And that is, if you understand the purpose of your own existence on this planet, what is it you're expected to do or deliver before you depart? And therefore, I always try to tell students and others or people that you need to celebrate 2 days in every year. One of them you do it as your birthday, but the another day should be the day you realize why you were born. So that is how I feel this interpersonal relationship is so essential, especially for us, because our job is mainly dealing with people around us more than anything else. So finally, I can only say, without taking too much of time, because I have to also go to my office and some people are coming. Ultimately, I can only say that the education is not just filling of bucket, but it is lighting the fire. And considering the challenges we have around us, and I can only say that we need to prepare ourselves not for the comfortable predictability of yesterday, but the realities of today and all unknown possibilities of tomorrow. And at the end, I would like to end with one wonderful Sanskrit shloka. And that indicates, in fact, I've been insisting wherever I go, how important it is to inculcate human values and virtues amongst our youth. And that is, एक बार एक विष्णु भक्त विष्णु के पास गया और बोला कि मैं बहुत मेरे पास संपत्ति है, आई एम वेरी रिच, आपको मुझे अच्छे फ्लावर्स पुष्प अर्पण करने हैं और कितने भी महंगे हो मैं कहाँ भी जाके वो ला सकता हूँ. तभी विष्णु अपने भक्त को बोले कि अगर आपको पुष्प देने ही हैं तो मुझे 8 पुष्प देना. तो वो 8 पुष्प जिनको समझेंगे, मुझे लगता है कि all virtues we are talking about is clear. And Vishnu said, ahimsa prathama pushpam, pushpam indriya nigraha. Ahimsa prathama pushpam, pushpam indriya nigraha. Sarva bhuta daya pushpam, kshama pushpam visheshataha. Jnana pushpam, tapah pushpam, shanti pushpam, yathaivecha. Satya Ashtavidham Pushpam Vishnum Priyakaram Bhavet. Thank you very much. Thank you for calling.
Just a minute, sir.
If there are certain questions, I would like to take up.
If there is any query, so please, all the faculty members are invited to ask questions to Professor Patnekar regarding leadership, quality, and whatever he said. And you must have, acquired, some of the tidbits of, quality enhancement. measures. So anybody else? Someone else is ready to ask? Is there anyone?
उसके दो ही अर्थ होते हैं. जब सवाल नहीं आते हैं, जब हम भी एज ए टीचर क्लास में पढ़ाते हो, आपको पता है, जब स्टूडेंट सवाल नहीं पूछते हैं, उसके मतलब दो ही होते हैं. एक तो आइदर उनको सब समझ गया है या कुछ नहीं समझा. तो मुझे पता नहीं.
सर
समझ में आ गया.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Dr. Manisha.
अच्छे से समझ में आया सब
Yes,
कुछ.
ma'am. Ma'am, should I continue?
Yes.
Sir, thank you so much. Your address painted a very clear picture of teachers' responsibility as leaders, and not only leaders, but creating world-class leaders with knowledge and character. We must understand that every child is born with inherent skills. It is the responsibility of us teachers to bring out that latent talent of students so that they would become job creators, not just job seekers. And teachers, they cannot let themselves stagnate because life is a continuous process of learning, innovation, and creativity, as told by you. And we need to have the positive attitude because we must remember every cloud has a silver lining. We must work with resilience, adaptability, teamwork, and we must believe in coexistence. Thank you so much, sir, for your engrossing content. Now, I request my principal ma'am to say a vote of thanks to sir.
Well,
There's no need of vote of
well, we should stand on some of the formalities which are also needed. So, sir, wonderful. I should say wonderful to you, because kudos to your relentless pursuit of after excellence in all achievable forms. Hats off to your energetic, proactive, progressive spirit and drive to create active, tangible, arresting, or tangible value in such a passive and physically arresting situation as a lockdown, and in giving all the departments and equal opportunities to create sustainable value. You are encouraging healthy competition, participation, and team spirit through your lecture, and everyone is kept constructively busy in doing their best, what I have seen when I visited your college. And somehow I am looking forward to see your university also, Mumbai University, which is very famous one. And sir, because you belong to the chemistry department, so you have beautifully galvanized, things in a beautiful way. And we have to, everybody has a leadership quality in it. And what our Pednekar sir said, that it is our honors and it is our responsibility to realize that potential in us. And once we realize that potential, then we will be able to lead others. So onus is on teachers now, that they have to maintain and sustain quality, whether they are in the class or outside the class. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for sparing your precious moment with us. Thank you very much, Pednekar sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
On behalf of my faculty and management, I express my deep gratitude for your wonderful lecture. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And in this lockdown period, I can only say that remain grateful and not stressful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, thank you.
So we will meet for the next session in the evening, where we'll be discuss research methodology by Professor Zohar Pachauri. And I think that session will also be wonderful. And as Mumbai Vice Chancellor has beautifully explained things to us. And so now all our faculty members should realize that they are not simply the teachers, they are the leaders. And they have to create leaders by their innovations and by their knowledge and techniques. So these are the wonderful words delivered by Professor Pednekar. And so we should imbibe, we should indulge in or we should follow into his into his shoes, or we should just follow him, what he said, because greatness or excellence is always followed. So we should hanker after excellence in every form and matter which is available to us. So thank you. Very seeing you again at 5 o'clock in the evening. Namaskar.
Ma'am, there's one point I want to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
As sir said, sir has left, but I wanted to speak in front of him. I just forgot. He said that the robot has been employed in Bangalore for teaching. But we don't think that robots can replace teachers, because teachers, they are also emotional support to students. Robots can teach to the precision, but they can't provide that emotional support to students. No, ma'am.
हेलो हेलो एवरीवन, आवाज आ रही है?
Okay.
आ रही है मैम?
Well, you are
Yes,
no,
ma'am.
Manisha. Hello.
हाँ जी,
Okay.
आ रही है।
So Professor Pednegar has frightened us.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Actually.
Frightened us कि future बहुत ज़्यादा bright नहीं है. It is going to be very bleak if we do not work hard. If we do not work hard, because soon we will be replaced by robots. इंडिया में तो नहीं होगा, पर मुझे लग रहा है कि 40 साल बाद या 30 साल बाद हो सकता है कि हमारे यहाँ भी रोबोट्स आ जाएं और उन्हीं को एम्प्लॉय कर लें, और सब जो ह्यूमन टीचर्स हैं वो सब गायब ही हो जाए.
गायब हो जाएंगे.
Hello. Now I want to thank our principal, ma'am. Ma'am, for your guidance.
तो टेक्नोलॉजी का ये भी हो सकता है. बहुत
Hello.
Yes, speak.
Ma'am, I want to take this honor of thanking you. You are our guiding light, and without your initiative, such kind of programs could not have become a reality. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Also, I want to thank our convener, ma'am, Santosh, ma'am, because you're always ready to take the responsibilities and organize the events. Thank you, ma'am. And also, I want to thank all the participants for their patient and energetic participation. Thank you, all of you.
Okay. So thank you very much, all our moderator, Dr. Manisha Agrawal, who has moderated today's session in a very nice way. And I would like to thank Dr. Santosh Tomar also for coordinating the whole of the program, and always in touch with me, at every hour of the day or night, and and all of you, all my faculty members who are sparing time to attend this faculty development program, all my attendees of this session, I express my deep gratitude to all of you for attending this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.